we were thinking kind of from the creative industry, something that feels soft on the touch, like a fabric or something. Like that could be interesting. But my mind very quickly went to soft power. Like how do you influence, like diplomacy. And then we started to see who do we know in our network. And through Rachel, I got in touch with the Consul General of Belgium. Particularly excited about that, to have my neighbor as a Dutchman here speaking with us today. So please give it up. Give a big round of applause for David Lomastro.
Good morning.
Here's your mic. And have fun.
Thank you very much. Oh yes, it's a lot of material.
Yeah.
I was told to, do you hear me? I was told to tell you that I wear trousers. I don't know why, but just for you to be aware of that. I'm very happy to be here this morning, especially because, I mean, I didn't know Creative Mornings before Rachel told me about it, and then I was kindly asked by Mark to say a few words this morning. I mean, let's be totally honest. Creative afternoons would have been okay as well. It's for me, would have been okay. But it's Creative Mornings. We will not change the project now. It's fine. We wake up early and we are very, very happy to be here. And it's funny because the first thing I did when I arrived in Hong Kong 3 years ago was to look for people like you. So we have a community of around 1,300 people registered at the consulate, and maybe a little bit more in total. And the first thing I did was to go a little bit through the projects that we have heard of, and also LinkedIn and so on, to identify people who are creative, or who identify themselves as creative. So we have this group of maybe 30 or 40 people here in Hong Kong, artists, communicators, event organizers, designers, and calligraphers. I mean, different kinds of art. Two are here with us this morning, Frédéric and Hilde, who are there sleeping in the background. And the idea was to see how we could put Belgium on the map, but in a creative way. So I'm particularly happy to have this broader community with people from all over Hong Kong and different backgrounds, because this is really the kind of meetings that we are looking for. Of course, I would like to know you more and to ask you questions about what you do, what is it that you do, and what are your priorities. But I'd like to start maybe with two questions. The first one being, who has ever been to Belgium? And transit at the airport doesn't count. Okay? Because it's also a hub, like a place where you buy chocolate and you. So all right, and the second question maybe, who has ever spoken with a diplomat more than 5 minutes? Okay, so Belgium is not an exotic place, but diplomacy may be a little bit more, and that is interesting. I would like to manage your expectations. I think it's important. Mark asked me to be inspiring and casual. I mean, it's a summary, but I think it was. So I can commit on the casual part. It's really okay. And I'm sure you will be diplomatic enough to tell me that I was very inspiring when we have coffee after that. So maybe the expectations I should manage even more is that, of course, I'm here because I'm the Consul General of Belgium, and that the Consul General of Canada was not available. But everything I say, you have tried? Okay. Of course, everything I say will not be the formal and official position of Belgium or the European Union. I'm more here to share a personal experience. It's not a real diplomatic setting or official setting. And the second thing is that I will tell you about a couple of concepts, but I'm not an academic either. So that means that you may find more knowledgeable people with one click on the internet. So that's also something important. And even if I'm not an academic, I think we should start with a couple of definitions. Because linking the theme of the month with our activities was not difficult. Diplomacy goes well with soft, and but there are a lot of words around that, and a bit like the Eskimos for the snow, they have a lot of different words to identify the snow, and it's a little bit the same with political science, because when you have studied political science like me, it's not easy to find a job. So you need to keep yourself busy. And so you invent concepts. And I will tell you a little bit about those concepts. Soft power, soft diplomacy, cultural diplomacy, public diplomacy. So many things that fit into each other. So at the risk of losing your attention, we will start with the difference between the hard ice and the snow that has almost melted. So, of course, I'm referring to the difference between hard and soft power. Hard power refers to a coercive approach with tangible means, such as military force or economic incentives, and sanctions to compel others to comply with one's demands. And tariffs. Can be economic incentives and sanctions. Even if it can operate through inducements and rewards, you feel that the notions of conflict and asymmetry are not far away. Soft power, by contrast, is a persuasive approach that relies on attraction and cultural influence rather than coercion. It is the ability to get what you want by shaping the preferences of others through culture, political values, foreign policies, and diplomacy. For the record, you should know that there is a global soft power index that I discovered preparing for this session. And Belgium is in the top 20. So the message here, those Belgians, they're very good. So the second important nuance is the difference between soft power and soft diplomacy. The difference lies in their scope. Soft diplomacy or public diplomacy is one of the key instruments or practices through which soft power is exercised. It involves direct engagement efforts such as cultural, education, digital diplomacy, sports, and economic diplomacy. It aims at creating favorable environments and build relationships that enhance a country's image and influence globally. Of course, political scientists didn't stop there. When I say that they need to keep themselves busy, it's true. So you have other differences between soft and public, and a lot of things. But if I want to project a positive image of Belgium this morning, I think I will stop with the definitions. But I would like to point a few elements that seem essential to me when I think of or when I practice soft diplomacy. The first is communication, then engagement with foreign publics, build mutual understanding and cooperation, and promote a favorable image of the country. In one word, it is about building trust. Again, words are very important here, because if you put influence at the center of the definition, or if you put trust at the center of the definition, you have a very different perception and also a very different impact. My personal conviction is that in a polarized world, such as the one we live in now, putting the importance of encounters, cooperation, and mutual understanding is more useful than putting the notion of influence in the foreground, and especially when we talk about people-to-people contacts. Because international relations are made of those hundreds of thousands and millions of individual connections. States can be catalysts, stimulators of these contacts, but they do not have a monopoly on them. Of course, cultural diplomacy has existed as a practice for centuries. Explorers, travelers, missionaries, traders, teachers, and artists can all be considered examples of informal ambassadors or cultural diplomats. Any person who interacts with different cultures facilitates a form of cultural exchange. But before, historically, it was on the periphery of international relations. Formal diplomacy was reserved for states, aristocrats, and professional diplomats like me. And during the 20th century, this has gradually opened up to a plurality of actors. Now it's a game that goes beyond state-to-state diplomacy by engaging diverse actors such as international organizations, NGOs, civil society, businesses, and citizens. And here again, the notion of influence, it is not an end, in itself, but it is also important to understand that influence in the framework of people-to-people contacts is mutual. It's a mutual influence. The Belgian student who goes to China, of course he will learn about China. He will have his own opinion about what's going on there. Maybe he has read before he traveled, but then he will discover more about Chinese culture, the Chinese way of living. And as a Belgian student, he will also share about Belgium, and he will tell Chinese how we live in Belgium. And in the end, they will influence each other. So influence is not a bad thing per se, but when it's put in a certain context, it can be, I think, counterproductive. So to be a little bit more concrete, let's talk about what Belgium is doing as soft diplomacy in Hong Kong. First of all, of course, if you want to project an image, you need to know what this image is, what you want to convey as a message. When Belgium defines itself, the key feature is openness. Belgium is an open country, open to the outside world, open to partnerships, open to innovation, to creation, and open to diversity. So how do we convey those messages here in Hong Kong? We thought about it with the Be Creative group, but also with my team. And 3 years ago, we launched the concept of Festival of the Belgian Days. It's 1 week of activities involving artists, gastronomy specialists, and businessmen. Obviously, we have to take into account the limited means that we have, but we wanted to illustrate the openness of our country. The first is openness to partnerships, even if it's at a small level or a human scale. 4 hands dinner mixing Belgian and Chinese cuisine, and I totally forgot that I have slides. But that's okay. But that's okay because I have prepared like one slide for the whole thing that you had just heard. It was this one. I like it. Of course, it makes a huge difference. So, openness to partnerships. 4 hands dinners with mixing Belgian and Chinese cuisine. Joint screenings of films by cinema students from the Belgian University and the HKBU Film Academy here in Hong Kong. And one of my favorite projects last year, the Blend Music Festival. So you see the level of amateurism of what we do. So if there are graphists, graphic designers and others, they want to help, leave your name and address on the front desk. I will have a look. So what we did, because we really wanted to stress the importance of sharing and cooperation, we organized a festival where we divided the weekend in musical genres, and we invited artists from Belgium to come here in Hong Kong and to have a session with a Hong Kong artist. So each artist from both sides would play his or her music, and then we will leave 15 minutes, another 5. It's okay. I mean, we started at 9:30, so it's... so we left 15 minutes at the end so that they could play together, make a cover, or do something that would be a real cooperation. And it was very interesting because in the room, during the normal performances, people would, cheer and be happy to be there. But when this cooperation, those 15 minutes would start, everybody would take the phone and just capture the moment because it was unique and it was a moment of real cooperation. So we had several artists coming here, CY Leo with Renel Bacolet from Belgium, Marc and Aaron from Hong Kong. This is about partnerships. Innovation, yes, we organize seminars and other activities around, beside all the artists we invite, we organize seminars about, research and development in life sciences, or this year on artificial intelligence. This one is a project that I like a lot, and it's more about conveying the message that Belgium is an inclusive country and open to diversity. Outsider art is a form of art that is performed by artists who do not consider themselves as artists because they are in the margin of the society, or they are slightly mentally handicapped, or they have another form of disability. And so it's now 3 years that we invite artists from Belgium. Here, Michael came to Hong Kong, and some people have the absolute pitch. So, they can identify any music note just by here. He has something similar, but with the perspective. So he would look at Hong Kong from the peak, and then he would start drawing directly on the paper. And he created several pieces here. But what was also important is to have Michael exchange with schools, other outsider artists in Hong Kong, and we found partners like the St. James Creation, ID Art of the Tungwa hospitals. They all have workshops. So those partnerships and the inclusivity are very important messages that we wanted to bring here to Hong Kong. Jérôme came last year. He has his own style of drawing naked women, so we could not invite children to his exhibition. And this will be this year, 2 walls, 1 wall. It's Noor. Noor is coming from Belgium, and he will perform with a local street artist. they will paint a fresco in Kowloon together. Sometimes it's not about building projects, it's also about using links that are already there. Beautified China is a project by a Belgian photographer, Chris Provost. He traveled everywhere in China and took those amazing pictures of buildings, so Chinese architecture, modern architecture. And we exhibited his work in Macau. So the links are sometimes there, and it's just a matter of activating them. The Belgians in Hong Kong. Jean-Pierre Ruel is a Belgian photographer, and Jean-Pierre had published a book about Hong Kong, buildings, people, and so on. And he wanted to publish a second one. And I told Jean-Pierre, don't do that. I have an idea. Just take pictures of Belgians in their favorite places here in Hong Kong, so that we have a testimony of the Belgian presence in 2024 and 2025. And so Belgians here, this one is from Macau, so yes, that's we have exceptions. But and this is Fred, who's sitting there. So this is really a project that I like because it makes a strong connection between the Belgian community and Hong Kong. Chinese calligraphy with Hilde. Fortunately, I have this slide, otherwise you would have killed me. Hilde is a Belgian calligrapher, and she's very talented. She has studied with masters of Chinese calligraphy, and we have the pleasure to use Hilde as a connector between our two cultures. I will go fast from here, Mark. No problem. When you speak with a distinguished diplomat from Belgium, I put my glasses, but I'm not that distinguished. Sometimes you will hear something like, Belgium is not only about beer and chocolate. And it's true. I mean, it's an innovative country in the middle of Europe, and there are so many things that we want to tell about our country. But from my part, I would say, you're right. It's not only about beer and chocolate. It's also waffles and fries. And it's also about those guys. How many people in the room do not know them? And for those who are not very strong at recognizing faces, they are usually blue, and their trousers and hat are usually white. So who has never heard of those guys? Don't be shy. They have a brand recognition level of 95% worldwide. It's the same level as Coca-Cola. So I know Belgium is not only about beer, chocolate, and the Smurfs. That's true. But you catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. And this one I found on, yes. Those are pictures taken during the first edition of the Belgian Days. And this one I found on it's Copilot. So I asked for a joke about inspiring people, and chocolate or diplomat, I don't remember. So Copilot, a very famous author, has suggested this. So the fact is that people come to our activities because they know the chocolate, they know the Smurfs, and then they stay because Belgians are fun people, and it's nice to drink a beer with them. I mean, and then maybe, I mean, he or she will think, well, I need to plan vacations, or I want to invest somewhere, and then Belgium is this little country in the center of Europe, very well connected, a logistic hub with 60% of all European consumers within 500 kilometers from Brussels. And so they know Belgium because of chocolate, but then, I mean, they will stay. And it's exactly the same for the Smurfs and the beer. It's more like a gateway. It's a first step. It's the first thing people see, but then you can build something on that. And Mark, I will tell the room a secret. I will need this to be edited in the video put on the internet. The secret is that the Belgian days are just a pretext. It's a pretext to gather. It's a pretext to share some time together, and it's a pretext to, I hope, trigger something else. So then we can build trust, and we can influence each other. I have a last one. This was made by a professional, so it's a bit more. This is the trailer. I don't know if we have the sound as well. Yes, everything works? Great. This is the trailer of the Belgian days.
Si on vient ici, c'est pour danser, s'amuser.
I'm finished, so thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You started saying about diplomacy and what you do, and then about Belgium. You said you wanted to tell what Belgium stands for. So you said Belgium is. Then you started with an O, and I was convinced you were going to say Obelix. But your answer was probably better.
Actually, Obelix is a French character.
Oh, bummer.
But thank you for.
Any questions? We have time for some questions. Up there, yeah.
Hello. You mentioned around the two faces of influence and how there can be those like two sides, positive and negative. For someone looking at marketing, putting something out there, creative, their business, their product, what advice would you have to ride that line between making sure you don't stray into the negative face of influence? Like, what advice would you have?
I mean, of course, I'm not a specialist in marketing, but the first thing I would say is know your market. I organized in Greece an exhibition about my hometown in Belgium. And in my hometown in Belgium, we have this activity around Saint George, killing a dragon. And this is really something that is part of the local folklore. And in Greece, Saint George is also a very famous character, revered everywhere. So we organized this exhibition, a talk about it, and it was perfect for the Greek context. I'm not sure if I come to China and we organize something about killing a dragon would be... Because culturally, those two things are, I mean, because in the local culture, in Mons, where I'm from, killing the dragon is the symbol for killing the evil and to the good and bad and how things... But here it has a totally different meaning. So I think that for diplomacy, as for marketing, if you have the opportunity to listen to your partner, and when I mean listen, it's really trying to understand, to put yourself in his shoes and try to understand what triggers his reaction or action, it might help not be, not to take actions that might be counterproductive. That would be my reasons.
Thank you very much. This is really inspiring, and not in the bad way. You mentioned earlier the soft power index, and that Belgium ranks top 20. I'm curious to know the difference between the 20 and the top 5. Who might be up there, and if there's anything material in the strategy or in the investment or in the way these countries show up in the world that would be of note.
In diplomacy, as in international relations in general, size matters. And what struck me when I looked at the top 5 was the size of the countries. You would find there, I don't remember the top 5 by heart, but the United States, China, France, Italy would rank very high. And it is also because those countries have relation. I suppose that the global index has been, it's based on a survey carried globally. And it's a fact that those countries have intense trade, commercial, economic, and cultural relations with the rest of the world. So this is my first impression. My second, a reflection would be to look at or a strategy would be to look at the anomalies, small countries that are ranking high. And there you can think of Italy, which is a small among the big countries. I think we had this discussion with Frederic this morning about diasporas. The role of diasporas is very important. There are diasporas that you expect to find because of the demography. Chinese, Indians, countries with so many people, you expect to find them everywhere in the world. And then you have those, people who travel a lot and who settle elsewhere, like Greeks, Irish. There are more Irish than around the world than in Ireland. And so yes, I suppose that diasporas plays an important role because of the cuisine or the beer in the case of the Irish, and maybe some whiskey as well. So yes, it would be interesting to look at the anomalies in the ranking if you put aside the size of the country.
Thank you for a marvelous talk. With climate change being a big thing requiring international collaboration, I'm just curious how much of your time as a diplomat is spent dealing with climate change. Thanks.
It's an interesting question, and you have the very practical side. When I arrived in Hong Kong, I was told that because typhoon, I knew nothing about typhoons, so. And I was told that I could expect typhoons from mid-June until mid-September, and that after that we would be okay, and that if I hide for 3 months, I'll be fine. Last year we organized the Belgian Days. We had one of the flagship events, dinner at the Renaissance here. Black tie, like the thing the dinner you don't want to mess with. And it was interrupted at 10 p.m. on a 17th of November by a typhoon, a T8. So, climate change is really disrupting all activities, including diplomacy, including public diplomacy. So that's the first thing. And then there is also what we are trying to do. And sustainability, climate change are really topics where it is easy to engage with other countries other countries who believe that there is a climate change due to human activity. And that is also why this year, for instance, we organize a conference on sustainability with the Hong Kong University during the Belgian days. So it is a topic that is so important for us that we really wanted to put it at the forefront, especially now in the current context where it's important to cooperate between Europe and China if other parts of the world are a bit more disengaged in this issue.
We're almost at the end. We have time for one more. Before we do that, I do want to go to one QR code, and this is going straight to the Belgian Days website.
Wow.
I think it's very good to highlight that. So scan that now, check that out. And the final question, I know that there's a couple hands in the air, but I think I saw a hand there all the way at the beginning, and I don't want to...
You talk about brand recognition, and it's true that for brand recognition, time matters, right? So whether it's the German beer, the waffles, the Smurf, Strumpf in German, Johnny Hallyday, Jacques Brel, etc. are wonderful items, but that is over 50 years old, half a century. Is there any new, in the last 10 years, what would you say are the three most recognizable new creative force in Belgium? Whether it's product or brand or
My daughter went 2 days ago to Macau to see Travis Scott. He was performing in Macau. And I discussed with the big casinos and the entertainment sector in Macau. And it is true that we, at this moment, maybe we lack worldwide performers or actors. We had Stromae a couple of years ago, but it's true that if you look at the world map, we do not have artists, at the level in terms of recognition of Taylor Swift, Travis Scott, and others. But what I notice also is that despite the fact that there is, you have applications like Spotify or others, despite the fact that we have that, there is still a fragmentation, a cultural fragmentation, and artists that who can move millions of people in Asia are hardly known in Europe. And sometimes, there are artists. The top 10 is known worldwide, and including Taylor Swift or Beyoncé or others, or bands like Coldplay, etc. But it's true that it is, not every country has the chance to have this, to reach this Ivy League at the moment, because the competition is harsher than a couple of years ago. And I will stop with one thing. When I was young, a long time ago, there were maybe 10 artists who would make, they were everywhere. Madonna, Michael Jackson, George Michael, and a couple of others. And those people have trusted 10 years of the global agenda, maybe when I was young. Now there is more competition. There is more. The market is totally different. But it's true. It's true. You're right. Maybe we are in a phase where we are waiting.
what about brands or products or any?
Those guys are still very popular. Then we have also the. Of course, it's a bit more niche, but the Queen Elizabeth competition for everything that is linked to classical music. It brings a lot of visibility and it brings a lot of artists together in Belgium. I had another example in mind, but maybe Charlotte can help me.
I think at the moment the pharmaceutical sector in Belgium is actually very important with all the pandemics. So we saved the world in a sense.
it's true that we have produced a lot of vaccines during the harsh times of COVID. I mean, you can't dance on it, but you are very happy to have them. And I had another example in mind, but I just forgot.
Well, thank you, Belgium, for saving the world. I'm going to ask you to wait one moment. Sure. So we are getting to the final stages of this morning. We still have a ton of coffee, so make sure to drink all of that. But first I want to invite Nick over to share his little piece of art, and that's what it is today. What can you share us, Nick?
Nice.
I decided to go for another cartoon. I feel like turning you into a blue Smurf would not be a flattering look. So this is the Adventures, Les Aventures de David.
Oh, thank you very much. That is amazing, really. Oh, thank you so much. And if I may add a little comment about Tintin, since this is based on the character Tintin, the first album where Hergé, so the creator of Tintin, really took into account the other parts perspective was the Blue Lotus. When he created the Blue Lotus, it was influenced by his friend Cheng, a Chinese artist who helped him to avoid stereotypes about China, the kind of stereotypes that you could find in previous albums of Hergé, because he was a man of his time, and in the 20s, 30s, I mean, it was not, people are really preconceived ideas about the rest of the world. And the Blue Lotus is really a turning point in his creation, where it is more nuanced, and it takes into consideration the Chinese culture. So I really recommend the reading of the Blue Lotus, and thank you so much for this nice present. Thank you.
Can you take a photo?
Oh yes.